The millionaire saves the black woman on the street and discovers the unexpected truth. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from today. The loud sound of car tires sliding on the road echoed through the empty street in Manhattan. Then came a loud thud. Someone had fallen. Damien Blackthorne, a very rich man and the young boss of a big company called Blackthorne Enterprises, felt his heart beat fast as he quickly hit the brakes of his shiny limousine. In just a second, Damien jumped out of the car, not even listening to his driver. "Oh no, are you okay?" he shouted as he ran to a girl lying on the sidewalk. She had long brown hair that covered part of her face. She groaned softly and tried to sit up. I think so," she said in a small voice, blinking like she didn't know what just happened. Damien let out a big breath of relief. "You walked right in front of the car. Thank goodness we stopped in time." He reached out to help her stand up. He noticed her clothes were old and worn out, and she looked very scared. There was a bruise on her face that didn't look like it came from the car. "I'm sorry," the girl whispered. "I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to." "It's okay," Damien said kindly. He was worried about the bruise on her face. "Do you need a doctor? I can call for help." She shook her head quickly. No, I'm fine, really. I just need to go." As she tried to walk away, Damien gently held her arm. "Wait, please. You look like you're going through a hard time. Let me help you. What's your name?" The girl hesitated. Then she said, "Alara Voss." Damien raised his eyebrows. The name Voss was famous. It belonged to one of the richest families in New York. But why would someone from the Voss family be on the street like this? "Alara, I'm Damien Blackthorne. Please come with me. I'll take you somewhere safe. We can talk and maybe I can help." Alara looked at him with both fear and hope. "Why do you care? You don't even know me." Damien gave a small smile. "Sometimes we're put in someone's life to help them. I think this is one of those times." After thinking for a moment, Alara nodded. Damien helped her into his car. The driver looked surprised, but didn't say anything. As the car moved through the bright city lights, Damien kept thinking about this strange meeting. Alara was a mystery. Even though her clothes were messy, the way she talked and moved was graceful, like someone who had been rich before. She spoke clearly, like someone from a fancy family. "Where are we going?" Alara asked softly. "To my home," Damien said. "I have a private doctor who can check on you quietly. Then we can talk more." Alara nodded and looked out the window, deep in thought. Damien watched her carefully. In all his years of being powerful and rich, he had learned to trust his feelings. His heart told him there was much more to Alara's story. As they reached Damien's big mansion on the Upper East Side, he felt something change inside him. This night was no longer ordinary. It was the beginning of something big and maybe even dangerous. As the gate to the mansion opened, Damien made a silent promise to himself. He would find out the truth about Alara Voss, no matter what. The mansion looked grand, with bright windows shining in the night. Alara stared at it, her eyes wide with both wonder and worry. "Is this your home?" she asked, her voice full of surprise. Damien nodded. "Yes, welcome to my home." As he helped her out of the car, he noticed something strange. Alara didn't look surprised like most people would. It was like she had seen the mansion before. Her eyes studied the building like she knew it. "Let's go in," Damien said kindly. "You can rest, clean up, and eat something." Alara paused, then nodded. "Thank you, Mr. Blackthorne. I don't know how to thank you." As they walked into the big house, Damien felt like he was starting a journey that would change everything. Alara Voss was a puzzle, and he wanted to solve it. The inside of the mansion was beautiful and shiny. Alara looked around with eyes that seemed to remember things. She looked like she had once been part of a world like this. "Welcome to my home, Alara," Damien said as they walked in. "We'll take care of you, and when you're ready, you can tell me your story." Alara gave a small smile. "You have no idea, Mr. Blackthorne. You have no idea. With those words, they entered the mansion, leaving the cold night behind. Ahead of them was a world full of secrets, mysteries, and surprises. The smell of fresh coffee filled the big kitchen. Damien sat at the table, watching Alara. She held the warm cup of coffee with both hands, like it was a treasure. After a hot bath and new clothes, she looked very different from the girl he almost hit with his car. "How are you feeling?" Damien asked kindly. Alara looked up at him. "Better. Thank you. Your kindness is amazing." Damien leaned forward. "Alara, I know we just met, but I can't help feeling that your story is very strange. You have the last name Voss, which belongs to one of the richest families in New York. But I found you on the street." Alara gave a sad smile and took a deep breath. "Damien," she said, "what I'm going to tell you might sound silly. Sometimes I wonder if it's real myself." Damien nodded, ready to listen. "My full name is Alara Elizabeth Voss," she said. "I was going to inherit the Voss fortune. 3 months ago I had everything. Money, a bright future. Now I have nothing." Damien looked confused. "What happened?" Alara closed her eyes. "It started when my grandfather, Thaddeus Voss III, died. He was the leader of our family. In his will, he left me a challenge, a puzzle to solve. He said if I solved it, I'd be worthy of the true Voss treasure." Damien leaned in, fascinated. "What kind of puzzle?" "He left me clues," Alara explained. "Each one showed something dark about my family. Bad things they did, secrets they hid. I learned that our money came from very wrong things." "But why are you on the street?" Damien asked. Alara looked serious. "Because someone is trying to stop me. I was being watched. Someone didn't want me to learn the truth. I had to disappear to stay safe." Damien sat back, amazed. "So you pretended to vanish?" "Not really," Alara said. I just left everything, my name, my home, my life. I've been hiding while still searching for the truth." The kitchen got quiet. Damien didn't know what to say. Part of him wanted to think it was all a made-up story, but when he looked into her eyes, he saw she was telling the truth. "And where did this search lead you?" he asked finally. Alara looked straight at him. "To your doorstep, it seems." Damien felt a chill. "What do you mean?" Alara leaned forward. "One of my grandfather's clues talked about a forgotten wedding ring. I thought it was just a riddle. But now I think he meant an old connection between our families." Damien's heart beat faster. It sounded crazy. But suddenly he remembered things, talks he heard as a child, old papers he once saw in his dad's office. "Alara," he said quietly, "we need to look into this more. If what you're saying is true, this could change everything." Alara nodded, half relieved and half scared. "You believe me?" Damien stood and looked out the window at the city lights. Then he turned back to her. "I believe there's more to your story, and I believe we were meant to meet. Now we have to find out why." Alara stood up and joined Damien by the window. "We can keep looking together," she said softly. "I know it's a lot to ask, especially since we just met." Damien gently put his hand on her shoulder. "Alara," he said, "when I met you tonight, I felt like my life was going to change. And now I know I was right. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." As the first light of the sun touched the sky above New York, Damien and Alara looked at each other. They were ready. The mystery that brought them together was only beginning. They both knew the secrets they might find could change their lives and the world. They knew. Outside the big mansion, a shadowy man was watching them through the window. He held a phone to his ear. "Sir," a quiet voice said, "we have a problem. She found the Rothschilds." Damien Rothschild's office was filled with fancy wooden furniture and soft leather chairs. There were books on all the walls and beautiful things on every shelf. Alara watched as Damien pressed some numbers on a small panel hidden behind a painting. "My dad always said the biggest secrets should be hidden where people can see them," Damien said with a smile. A part of the wall moved away silently, showing a hidden safe. Alara walked closer, curious. "What are we looking for?" she asked. Damien pulled out a small wooden box from the safe. He looked nervous and amazed at the same time. I don't know exactly, he said, but if there's any proof that our families are connected, it's in this box. He placed the box on the table and slowly opened it. Inside were yellow papers, old photographs, and a small leather book. These are my great-grandfather's papers, Damien said, picking up the book. His name was Frederick Rothschild. He didn't talk much about the past, but my dad thought he had big secrets. Alara picked up a photograph and gasped. Damien, look, she said. The picture showed two men in suits shaking hands in front of a large building. One man looked like a young Frederick. The other man, it's Thaddeus Voss Siku, Alara said, her voice shaking. My great-grandfather. Damien turned the photo over. On the back was a date, September 15th, 1929. That was right before the big stock market crash, he said. What were they doing together? Alara quickly opened the diary and found a page from the same date. Here, she said, and read it out loud. Agreement sealed with WA. The plan is in motion. May God forgive us for what we are about to do, but it is for the greater good. Order must prevail. Damien shivered. The order? What's that? Before Alara could answer, they heard glass break in the mansion. There were loud screams. Damien moved fast. He pulled Alara behind the desk and pressed a hidden button. What's going on? Alara whispered. Someone broke in, Damien said. We're not the only ones who want these secrets. Heavy footsteps came closer. Damien gave Alara the box. There's a secret passage behind the bookshelf, he said quickly. It goes to an underground room. Take the box and hide. I'll come get you. Alara held the box tightly. And you? She asked. Damien gave her a small smile. I'll try to stop them and see who they are. Now go. Alara ran to the bookcase, found the secret switch, and opened the hidden door. Before going in, she looked back at Damien one last time. He stood tall, ready to face danger. The office door flew open. 3 masked men came in with guns. Damien didn't look scared at all. Gentlemen, he said calmly, you didn't make an appointment. The leader of the group stepped forward. His gun pointed at Damien. Where's the Voss girl Rothschild and the documents? He asked. Damien raised his eyebrows. Voss girl? Documents? I don't know what you mean, he said. Why don't we talk like grown-ups without weapons? The man laughed a mean laugh. Still trying to talk your way out, Rothschild? The order doesn't like traitors. Damien's eyes narrowed. Ah, so this is about the order. Does your boss know you're on one of New York's most famous families' land? That's not very smart. The leader paused. He didn't expect that. Damien stepped closer and spoke with a strong voice. You have 30 seconds to leave before I call the police and my private guards. They ask harder questions than I do. No one moved at first. Then the leader gave a sign. Let's go, he said. But this isn't over. The order is watching. As soon as they left, Damien ran into the hidden passage. Alara was waiting, holding the box close. It's okay, Damien told her, helping her up. They're gone. For now. Alara looked at him with wide eyes. How did you do that? Who were they? I don't know, Damien said, but whatever we're part of, it's bigger and scarier than we thought. They returned to the office, their hearts still beating fast. Alara placed the box on the table and started going through the papers. Damien, she said, her voice shaking, I found something. She showed him a sealed envelope with a gold symbol. It had a pyramid and an eye in the center. What's that? Damien asked. Alara's face turned pale. If my grandpa's stories were true, this is the symbol of the Order, a secret group that controls New York's most powerful families. Damien picked up the envelope. It felt heavy. Well, he said, it looks like we're part of a big mystery, Miss Voss. Alara nodded, her eyes full of determination. There's no turning back now. What do we do next? She asked. Damien looked out the window at the shining city. Now, he said, we find out the truth, no matter what. The morning sunlight came through the windows of Damien's safe apartment in the Upper West Side. Alara was at a desk, papers and coffee cups all around her. She hadn't slept, but her eyes were full of focus. Damien walked in with a tray of toast and coffee. Any luck? He asked. Alara sighed. Maybe. I've been reading your great-grandfather's diary and the papers. There's something called Project Phoenix. Damien sat beside her. Project Phoenix? That sounds scary. I think so too, Alara said, sipping her coffee. It was supposed to start after the 1929 stock market crash. Look, she pointed to a diary page. November 1929, the economic chaos gives us cover. Project Phoenix is underway. The chosen families will rise from the ashes, stronger than before. The order will make sure we take power. Damien felt sick. That means our families got rich while others were suffering? Alara nodded. Yes. And there's more. Look at this. She showed him a yellow paper with a list of names. Rothschild, Voss, Vanderbilt, and other famous families. Next to each name was a number from 1 to 13. These must be the chosen families, she said. But what do the numbers mean? Damien asked. Alara bit her lip. I'm not sure, but remember the sealed envelope? Damien nodded and picked it up. The wax seal still had the pyramid and eye. I think it's time we open it, Alara said. Damien took a deep breath, then broke the seal. Inside was a single folded paper. They opened it and gasped. It was a map of Manhattan, but not a normal one. Strange lines and symbols covered the island. Some places were marked with dots and numbers. What is this? Damien asked. Alara looked closer. Those dots, they match the old homes of the families on the list. She was right. The Rothschild home had the number 7. The old Voss house had number 3. But what are these lines and symbols? Damien asked. Alara frowned and grabbed a book. She flipped through it quickly. Here, these are alchemy symbols, she said. Alchemy? Like turning metal into gold? Damien asked. Yes, but more than that, Alara said. Some alchemists believed they could change the world, shape the future. Damien stared at her. Are you saying Project Phoenix was like magic? They were trying to change New York's destiny? Alara nodded. And maybe even the whole world. Damien felt a shiver go down his back. The idea sounded crazy, but with everything they had found so far, it didn't seem too impossible. But why Manhattan? He asked. Not really to Alara, but more to himself. Why these families? Alara picked up the map and looked at it more closely. There's something else here. Look, in the middle of all the lines, right in the center of Manhattan, there's a bigger symbol. It was a mix of the pyramid and the eye they had seen before, but now it had a circle with strange signs all around it. The Nexus, Damien whispered, as if he suddenly understood. It's the center of everything, whatever this is. Alara nodded slowly. And do you know what place is there now? Damien's heart started to beat faster. He already knew before Alara answered. Federal Hall, she said. It's where George Washington became the first president of the United States. It's like the beginning of American history. Everything became quiet in the room as they thought about what this meant. Damien spoke first. Alara, he said, his voice serious, we have to go there. Right now. She looked at him, scared but brave. You're right. Whatever this secret group planned, it has something to do with Federal Hall. We need to understand it. They started packing important papers. As they got ready to leave, Damien felt like something big was about to happen. This mystery was not just about their families or even about New York. It was something much bigger. Something that could change the history of the whole country. Alara, he said again, stopping her at the door. She turned and looked at him. He saw the same feelings in her eyes that he had, scared, excited, and ready. No matter what happens, he said, we're in this together. She smiled. Even though she looked tired, her smile made her face glow. Together, she said. And so they stepped into the busy streets of New York City, holding secrets that could shake the whole country. Federal Hall was waiting for them. It held answers that could change everything. But they didn't see the dark figure across the street. He was watching them with a phone in his hand. They're moving, the man said quietly, and they're going right where we wanted them to, Federal Hall. The tall, old building stood strong in the middle of modern New York. Its white pillars and statue of George Washington looked different from the tall glass buildings around it. Damien and Alara stopped to look at it. People walked by, not knowing there might be big secrets under the ground they were walking on. "It's kind of strange," Alara whispered, staring at the statue. "All this time and we had no idea." Damien nodded. He could feel the weight of the secret papers in his briefcase. "Let's go. The sooner we get inside, the sooner we can start finding answers." They joined the crowd and got through security easily because Damien had VIP passes. Inside, the busy noise of the city was replaced by quiet and respect. The main hall was big and calm. "Where do we begin?" Alara asked softly. Damien looked at the map they had. "The center is over there," he said, pointing to a spot in the middle of the hall. They walked over carefully, looking at the fancy walls and shiny floors, trying to find something strange. "Damien, look," Alara whispered. She pointed at a pattern on the floor that was almost too light to see. It looked like a small pyramid with an eye in the middle, the same symbol from the group's seal. Damien knelt and touched it. "Wow, how did no one ever notice this?" "Maybe they weren't looking," Alara said as she knelt beside him. "Or maybe—" Suddenly she stopped talking. There was a soft clicking sound. The symbol under her fingers moved a little. Then the floor started to shake. Damien quickly grabbed Alara and pulled her back as a round part of the floor opened up. A spiral staircase appeared, going down into the dark. "Oh my gosh," Alara said. Her eyes were wide with surprise. Damien looked around, but no one else in the hall noticed. It was like they were inside a bubble where only they could see what was happening. "I think we found the way in," he said, smiling nervously. "Ready to go down the rabbit hole?" he asked. Alara took a deep breath and nodded. "Together, remember?" They started going down the stairs. The light from above got dimmer with every step. Damien turned on the flashlight on his phone to light the way. After a long walk, they reached a round room. The walls were covered in symbols and drawings. Some they knew from the map, others they had never seen. In the center of the room was a stone stand. On it sat a crystal ball about the size of a bowling ball. It glowed softly. Inside the ball, pictures and shapes kept changing. It looked like it was alive. "What is it?" Damien whispered. Alara slowly walked toward it. "I don't know, but look at the writing around it." Damien looked at the walls. He saw some symbols he recognized. Signs for changing things, for fate, for time. "Oh wow," he said. "Alara, this is a machine that can change time and space." Then a deep voice came from behind them. "Yes, it is," the voice said. Damien and Alara turned quickly. A tall man was standing at the entrance to the room. His eyes looked both proud and sad. "Father," Damien said softly. It was Victor Blackthorne. Victor walked in with 2 guards behind him. Damien knew them. They worked for his family. "Hello, son," Victor said. He looked at Alara. "And you must be young Miss Voss. You two have been hard to follow." Alara stepped in front of Damien, standing strong. "What is going on? What is all this?" Victor sighed and walked to the crystal ball. "This," he said, "is the legacy of the Order. It's the result of many years of work and sacrifice." "The Order?" Damien asked. "You're part of it?" Victor nodded. "Just like your great-grandfather, and Alara's too. For many years our families protected this secret, waiting for the right time." "For what?" Alara asked. Her voice was shaking a little. Victor touched the glowing sphere. The images inside it moved. "To fix history," he said. "To help the world become better." Damien felt sick. "Did you change things like the 1929 crash?" Victor looked at him. His eyes shined like fire. "Yes, sometimes you must cause small disruptions to bring real order. Project Phoenix was never about getting rich. It was about getting ready for the big event." "You don't get to play with people's lives," Alara said angrily. "Who gave you that right?" Victor looked at her kindly, but also like she didn't understand. "Someone had to do it. The world was falling apart. It still is, but with this," he pointed to the crystal ball, We can finally help everyone live in peace. Damien's heart beat fast. Everything he knew about his family was changing. And now? He asked, his voice calm but strong. What happens now? Victor gave a small smile. Now you both must choose. Join us. Take your place in the order. Help shape the future. Or... He didn't finish the sentence, but they understood the threat. Damien and Alara looked at each other. In that moment, they knew they would decide together. Well, Damien said, facing his father, I guess we have a lot to talk about. The crystal ball glowed brighter, as if it could feel the importance of this moment. The choice Damien and Alara made would change not just their lives, but maybe the whole world. Far below the busy streets of New York, while people walked above with no idea of what was happening, the future of the world was about to be decided. The room was quiet, except for the soft sound coming from the glowing crystal. Damien stared at his father. So many thoughts raced through his head. Alara stood beside him, her mind spinning too. Damien finally spoke. Before we choose anything, I want the truth. All of it. No more secrets. No more lies. If you want us to join you, we need to know everything. Victor nodded. He looked proud. All right, he said. Where should I begin? Start at the beginning, Alara said. Her voice was strong. How did all of this begin, and why? Victor walked to the crystal ball again. His hand hovered over it. The order, he began, has been around for much longer than you think. No one knows exactly when it started, but we believe it took this form at the end of the 1700s, right after the United States was created. He paused, his eyes looking far away. The founding fathers, men like George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, saw great promise in this new country, but they also saw danger. They were scared that without help, America could fail, and if America failed, the whole world could fall into darkness. So they made the order, Damien said, slowly starting to understand. Everything was starting to make sense. Victor nodded. Yes, he said. We are a secret group of people who try to help guide the world, not just America, but the whole world. And at the center of everything, he pointed to a strange glowing ball. Is this? Alara walked closer to the glowing ball. Her eyes got big as she looked inside. It showed many changing pictures. What is this? She asked. We call it the Nexus, Victor said. It's like a special window. It lets us look into time and space. We can see what might happen in the future. Sometimes we can even help change things. Damien felt a chill down his back. So that's how you do it, how you change big events. Victor shook his head. It's not that simple, son. The Nexus only shows what might happen, not what will happen for sure. We can give a little push, but the big things take a lot of time and planning. Like the crash in 1929? Alara whispered, starting to understand. Yes, Victor said. That was a big, bold move, maybe the biggest one we ever did. But it was needed. The world was heading in a scary direction, and we had to make a change. Damien frowned. He had a question that bothered him. But who decides what needs to be done? Who says you get to make those choices for everyone? Victor looked sad for a moment. For the first time, he looked like the job was heavy on his shoulders. That's a fair question, Damien, he said. We are not gods. We are just people. We make mistakes too, but someone has to make the hard choices. Then he turned to Alara, his eyes softer. Your grandfather, Thaddeus Voss, understood this very well. He helped us learn how to use the Nexus better. He helped us make our plans smarter. Alara felt many emotions. She felt proud but also scared. She admired her grandfather, but she was also disappointed. What happens now? She asked softly. Victor stood tall again, his face serious. The world is in danger again. Climate change, fights between countries, unfair money problems, everything is getting worse. We've seen very scary futures in the Nexus. Damien and Alara looked at each other. They were nervous. What kind of future? Alara asked, not sure she wanted to know. Victor sighed. We've seen a future where everyone is unhappy and the world falls apart. But we've also seen futures where there is peace and happiness. The problem is the good future is very hard to reach. He walked closer to them. That's why we need you, he said quietly. You are the next generation. You are young, with new ideas, but you also come from families who understand what's at stake. Damien felt the weight of everything on his shoulders. The Rothschild family had always been part of this, and beside him, Alara felt the same. Her family, the Voss, had played a big role too. What if we say no? Alara asked, her voice shaking. Victor's face became hard. Then we will do what we must to protect our secret and make sure our work continues. That sentence hung in the air like a heavy blanket. Damien stepped forward, standing between his dad and Alara. You've told us a lot, Dad, he said, but you can't expect us to decide this right now. We need time. Victor looked at his son for a long time. Then he slowly nodded. You're right, he said. This is a huge decision. I'll give you 24 hours, but not more. Time is very important. He called the guards. You'll be taken back to the city and watched. Don't try to run away or tell anyone. That would be very bad. As they were led out of the secret room and into the bright world above, Damien and Alara looked at each other. They had only 24 hours to decide. The choice they made would change their lives, and maybe the world. The pressure was huge. It felt too big to carry. But one thing was clear, they would make the decision together. As they stepped into the sunlight, the noise of New York City surrounded them again. Damien and Alara looked around. The people, the tall buildings, the cars, everything felt different now. Was all of this part of a big plan? A game where they had just been invited to play? The clock was ticking. In 24 hours, they had to choose. The sun was setting over Manhattan. The sky turned orange and pink as if nothing unusual had happened. On the rooftop of the hotel where they were staying, Damien and Alara sat together in silence, looking out over the glowing lights of the city. It's strange, isn't it? Alara finally said. Her eyes were on the horizon, looking at all of this and knowing there's so much happening behind the scenes. Damien nodded and rubbed his hair in frustration. I always thought I knew how the world worked. Money, power, control. But this is something else. Alara turned to him, her eyes filled with fear and bravery. What do we do, Damien? We only have a few hours. I don't know what to think. Damien stood and walked to the edge of the terrace. The city stretched far below. On one hand, he said, being able to help the whole world, that's tempting. But on the other hand, Alara added, walking to stand next to him, who are we to make those choices for everyone? Damien turned to her and took her hands. Alara, since we met, everything's been wild. But there's one thing I know. I trust you. No. More than that, I've fallen in love with you. Alara gasped. Her eyes got wide. Damien, he gently stopped her. Let me finish. What I mean is, whatever we decide, I want to do it together. If we say yes, we join the order as a team. If we say no, we face the danger side by side. Alara's eyes filled with happy tears. I love you too, Damien. And yes, we're in this together. They hugged, feeling safe in each other's arms, even though the world was spinning out of control. When they stepped apart, they had new strength. So, Alara said with a small smile, how do we decide the future of the world? Damien laughed, and it made everything feel a little lighter. I think we start with a list. Good things and bad things. For the next few hours, they talked a lot. They argued. They thought deeply. They talked about what was right and wrong. They thought about what power can do and how heavy it feels. They didn't think only about themselves. They thought about everyone in the world. Finally, as night turned into early morning, one thought became clear. We can't do this, Damien said firmly. We can't join the order. Alara nodded, feeling both scared and glad. I agree. That kind of power is too dangerous, even for good people. But, Damien said, an idea lighting up in his mind, we can't just walk away either. What do you mean? Alara asked. Damien started walking back and forth, thinking fast. What if we do something different? A third choice. We don't join them. We don't run away. We make something new. What kind of new thing? Alara asked, interested. A group, Damien said, but one that helps the world in the open. No secrets, no tricks. We use the money and power our families have, but we let the people decide what's best. Alara thought for a moment, then she smiled slowly. A foundation, she said, a group that works all over the world to solve big problems, like helping the planet, helping people who are poor, stopping fights. Yes, Damien said, getting excited. We use what we've learned. We share the truth. We help, but we do it honestly. Everyone can see what we're doing. It's risky, Alara said, hugging him. The Order might not like this. They'll have to deal with it, Damien said. If they try to stop us, it would show everyone what they really are. The sun peeked over the edge of the city as morning began. Damien and Alara were ready. They had a plan. They had each other. And they believed they were doing the right thing. Ready? Damien asked, holding out his hand. Alara smiled and took it. Ready. Together, they left the hotel, ready to face Victor and the Order. They were going to build a better future. A future filled with hope and light. As the elevator carried them down, they both knew the real adventure was just beginning. The world was waiting, and this time they would help shape it, not in the dark, but in the bright light of day. That Sunday morning, Federal Hall was quiet. No crowds, no noise. Damien and Alara walked through the old halls, hand in hand. The sound of their shoes echoed softly. They reached the secret door. Victor Rothschild was there, waiting, standing in the gentle glow of the hidden light. I see you've made your choice, Victor said. His voice was calm, but curious. Damien nodded and gently squeezed Alara's hand. Yes, Father, he said. We have an idea to share with you and the group. Victor raised one eyebrow and waved for them to follow him. Then let's go downstairs and talk about it, he said. They walked down to the secret room under the building. This time, the walk felt shorter. Maybe it was because they already knew what was down there. When they entered the round room, they saw they were not alone. Many people wearing long hooded robes were standing in a half circle. In the middle of the room was a glowing ball called the Nexus, gently shining. Victor explained, "These are the leaders of the group. They are here to hear what you have to say, and if needed, they will decide what happens next." Alara stepped forward. Her voice was strong and clear. "First, we want you to know that we understand how important your work is. We know that you carry a big responsibility, and we respect all that you have done for hundreds of years." Then Damien said, "But after thinking a lot, we've decided that we cannot join your group, at least not the way it is right now." The hooded people began whispering to each other. Victor frowned, but let them keep talking. Damien continued, "We want to make a big change in how this group works. We believe it should grow and become something better." Alara picked up from there. "We want to create something new. A group that is open and honest. A foundation that will use all your knowledge, but in a way that everyone in the world can see and understand." "That's impossible," one of the hooded people shouted. "If we tell our secrets, everything we built will fall apart." "We're not saying to tell all the secrets," Damien said quickly. "The Nexus and its magic will still be kept safe, but we will use its help to guide good actions that everyone can see and trust." "Please think about it," Alara added, her voice full of hope. "Instead of hiding in the shadows and changing things secretly, we could be leaders out in the open. We could teach people about the problems we face and help them make smart choices." Victor stepped forward. His face showed many emotions. "But what if the people make bad choices?" he asked. "What if they lead us into a terrible future like the ones we've seen before?" Damien looked at his father. "Then we'll trust that people will learn from their mistakes and get better. We can't keep making choices for the whole world without asking them. It's not fair." The room became very quiet. The Nexus glowed brighter, as if it felt the strong feelings in the room. Finally, one of the hooded people spoke. His voice was calm and wise. "Maybe it's time for a change. We've worked in secret for so long that we've forgotten what the sun feels like. Another person nodded. The young always bring new ideas. Maybe we should listen to them. Victor looked around and saw that many others agreed. Then slowly he smiled. My son, he said to Damien, you surprise me. I thought I was offering you and Alara the greatest power, but you have found something even greater, truth and trust. He walked closer and placed one hand on Damien's shoulder and one on Alara's. This won't be easy. Changing things will be hard, and some people will try to stop you, but I believe you are right. It's time to bring our group into the light. In the months and years that came after, the world saw something amazing, the birth of the Phoenix Foundation. It was a new group created to help solve the world's biggest problems. Led by Damien Rothschild and Alara Voss, the Phoenix Foundation quickly became a strong force for good. At the same time, the old group, the Order, also changed. The Nexus was still used, but now its visions helped leaders make smart choices for the world. No more secrets, no more hiding. 5 years after that important morning in Federal Hall, Damien and Alara returned to the secret room. But this time, they had someone very special with them, their baby daughter, Sophia. As they held baby Sophia in their arms, the Nexus glowed even brighter. What do you think it means? Alara asked, amazed. Damien smiled and kissed his daughter's forehead. I think it means the future is brighter than ever, he said, and I believe Sophia will have a very important part to play in it. As they left the secret room and climbed the stairs back into the world, Damien and Alara knew that their journey wasn't over. There would be more problems and more tough choices. But now, they would face them with the whole world beside them. The sun was shining over New York when they stepped outside. It was a new day, the start of something wonderful. Together, hand in hand, with their daughter in their arms, Damien and Alara were ready to build a better future. Not as secret rulers, but as honest and kind leaders. The future of the world was still a big responsibility. But for the first time ever, everyone was part of the story. And that, more than any magic or power, was the greatest gift Damien and Alara had discovered on their incredible journey. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.